Miss Lesko from the great state of Arizona, and we're going to miss you. What a great member she is. I recognize you for 5 minutes of question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You still have to put up with me for 8 months. First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Ahostine, for being here today and explaining to us why AM radio is important for the Navajo Nation, because I didn't know that before, and I'm glad that you're from Arizona, because that's my great state. And so we live in a wonderful state. For those of you that haven't visited, you need to come now before it gets too hot. My first question is for Mr. Bozzella. I think you said something to the effect of EVs, electric vehicles, and analog AM don't always mix. Yet about half of the EV car companies are now putting in the AM radio, installing the AM radio. And so can you tell me, if they can do it, why can't all of the EV manufacturers do it?
Yes, thanks. It's a great question. So not every manufacturer have the same platforms, the same technology arrays, and the same approaches to designing vehicles. And so some companies, because of how they've built the vehicles and how they've arrayed their batteries, their battery management systems, and their motors, are maybe more capable of doing the type of shielding and the type of work required to be able to address the interference issues. There's no question, nobody disputes that there's interference issues. The question is, how do you address them? I do think that in the future, you could see other companies sort of making those same investments, but I think the most important aspect of this bill is this bill takes AM and it puts it ahead of every other technology investment and safety investment an automaker needs to make. And so you have to account for that first and then deal with the other trade-offs that are related to safety and emissions. I don't think that that's the best approach. I do think your broader point, though, is right, which is there are ways for manufacturers to address this. It takes time and it takes money, and I think we can respond to customer needs.
And that's my next question. Two of the things that you've brought up, and I think Mr. Shapiro's brought up, is cost and weight.
Yeah.
How much more does it cost, and how much weight does it add to the vehicle?
Yeah, so the cost issue is $3.8 billion between now, $3.8 billion.
But per car?
Per car, it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. And because
do you have an estimate?
I don't, because
because that's what I care about is per car. Yeah.
Okay, well, you could take $3.8 billion and divide it by about 15 million vehicles a year. The issue is not solely cost. The issue, as I said, is this is not a federal motor vehicle safety standard. This is a mandate separate and apart from that. Now, with regard to weight,
just because I have a time limit, I'm sorry. How much is the weight per car?
I don't know. I'll get back to you.
Well, you said it's a big
ounces.
It's a big
we fight over
concern.
ounces to make sure.
Yeah, if you guys could get back to me
Sure, be
the
happy.
extra cost per car and the extra weight per car, so I can judge. Is this a big deal? Is it not a
100%.
big deal? Is this just something
to
you're
help.
saying to oppose it? I just don't know.
Yeah.
My next question is for Mr. Shapiro. Mr. Shapiro, in my home state of Arizona and in my congressional district, I have a lot of senior citizens, And they don't, I think one of the alternatives to AM radio is, well, you could stream the content, right? Well, I don't know, first of all, if they purchase services to stream, and I don't know if, like, I'm thinking of my 94-year-old mother, right? She's not going to know how to do this. So what do you say to those people?
I say they're my peers. I'm a senior citizen.
You don't look 94, man. You're a lot younger than that.
I thought people didn't think I was 100 because I'm wearing the pin about the age of our association. But the reality is, you're right. It's tougher for older people, but 99.9% of the cars they're likely to buy have AM radio in it. So this is a solution in search of a problem. So that's what I would say to them. The car makers have agreed to say we're going to disclose very conspicuously. If it doesn't have an AM radio, you're not going to see a lot of those except on electric cars. And there are choices in electric cars now. Mr. Brazil is right. It depends how they design the car. Some cars design differently, but it is the most hostile environment you can imagine. If you read one document as a result of this, I urge you to read the Center for Automotive Research report that was done, and it lays out the cost, it lays out why it costs more, and it lays out the complexity of solving a problem like this, especially if your original design said we could solve problems by not having AM radio in this car, and that would make us more efficient. It's a total redesign for a car like Tesla. And for the smaller companies, it may just drive them out of business, American companies that are trying to break into the electric car market.
Well, and I thank you, Ms. Span Cooper, for being here. I've run out of time to ask you a question, but you did a great job. So thank you all for being here and testifying, and I yield back.
Thank you.
General